Greetings, everyone. My name is Batswana-Basotho, otherwise known as Mighty Anape, or Tsuguru Anape, as I am fondly called by my own people from my father's side. We descend from a one of the kings called Nape, who's one of the founders of the nation that I'm from. Today I'm going to present the topic of Apis, the sacred bull, or the sacred royal bull of Botswana. I had previously done a presentation on this exclusively in Setswana. The reason being is that it is a lot easier for people who speak my language to grasp the concepts, because a lot of the words are already found in my language, so it is a lot easier for them to understand and quickly grasp the subject. But today I decided to do an English version, and it has even more breakdowns and more explanations than the Setswana one, because I'm speaking to a different audience. So in order to commence, I will articulate and explain the proverb that is found here at the bottom of this page. It says, "Ke kgomo ya moshate wa e gapa o molato wa e tlogela o molato." What that simply means is that the Apis bull, as you shall see, it is a cow of the royal palace. And if you hurt the cow or the ox, you are guilty. And if you leave it without bringing it to the palace, you are still guilty. So it's one of those catch-22 type of situations. All right. But before I delve into the subject, there are a number of people that I would like to thank for having had an influence in my life and my journey as I investigated the writings of ancient Egypt. And these people are my dear friend, the Prince of Barolong Kinosi Mojanaga, whom I've communicated with in person and over the phone for many years regarding my work, and who's been very supportive and brought this this information to the relevant people, meaning the royals within the Barolong, from whom I've received permission to bring this work forward. And then Makaru Naba Lamusa Morodenebik. I joined his school when he was already deceased. I didn't know at the time, but found out when I was already at the school. But I was fortunate enough to meet with him in other planes and receive messages directly from him. And he's been a great inspiration in my life. And Herpu Big Bai Inajnima, who was the head of the school at the time, him also I've met in other states of consciousness, where I've received messages from him, whether that was intentional for him to send me messages or not, but I don't know. But he has been a great inspiration. And then there's my good friend Ricardo Waldron, otherwise known as Baba Nu, the writer of the book The God Genes Decoded. He's the one who helped me connect with the Neteru personally, and from that experience, that's when I knew that the Neteru are actually real. They're not some abstract ideas or some spooky thing, like some people would like to think, right? I don't think anybody should attempt to have an opinion until they've had a personal experience regarding the Netaru and what they really are. And then there's the priestess Gogo Mati, who helped me in my journey when I needed some guidance, and I was receiving very powerful messages from my ancestors. And as a priestess, she knew exactly what I needed to do, and I carried out those instructions on my own. And she's been very supportive even to this date. And then we have Zirbuimen, my teacher at the Earth Center, very intelligent elder, who was very supportive of myself, and I was really impressed upon by his ability to absorb and articulate the teachings of Mtam as presented by Master Naba. He's definitely my role model when it comes to the Mtam philosophy. Then my other teachers, Hershaba and Sepkanita, who also were very exemplary during my sojourn and my journey in Mtam. They were very, very helpful, very tough, unrelenting to make sure that I was upright, in walking the spiritual path. And lastly, as we say in Setswana, Mojamorahoge Khosi, which means that he who eats last is the king. Baba Mutwa, Credo Mutwa, whom I had the opportunity to speak to over several years, him and his wife, and the information that he unloaded and provided me with gave me great inspiration and courage to actually be where I am today. And with that said, may the soul of Makaru Nabal Namusamoro Tenebik and that of Baba Vusa Mazulu Credo Mutwa rest peacefully. Now, on to the subject. The historians have these things to say about the Apis bull. They say that the bull was selected after a careful search based upon its appearance. It had to be black with a white triangular marking on its forehead, another white marking on its back in the shape of a hawk's or vulture's wings, a white crescent on its side, a separation of the hairs at the end of its tail, known as the double hairs, and a lump under its tongue in the shape of a scarab. Now, I must point out that, knowing how Europeans are, they tend to embellish or exaggerate some things, and as some people will find out that they had so many things to say about ancient Egypt, but oftentimes either they deliberately embellish or they misunderstand some things and just simply write whatever that they imagine. Some of the things that are said here are actually true, as you will find out, but some of them not so. The secret of Batswana. According to Setswana lore, a bull called Kupe is sacred. Its secret is known by the king and confidants. Kupe or kupa, another word, or it has another meaning, is hot ashes having unnoticeable cinders. Now the question is, how does the Apis bull of ancient Egypt have ties to the law of Botswana? We will answer that question. Let's look at it. Among other definitions, Kupe or kupa means secret. It is something that is concealed from view or covered. From this we derive kupa, used in the idiom kupa marama, which means a secret that is to remain within the cheeks and should not escape the lips. This in turn derives from hupa, which means to hold a quantity of food or liquid in the mouth without swallowing it. Now, the writer of Among Bantu Nomads, Brown, in 1926 on page 92 writes the following after his visits amongst the Batswana. He says that occasionally, though very rarely in these modern days, one hears of a sacred animal of the bovine species called Kupe. This is an animal that has been dedicated to divine honors, and because of that, it is on no account to be killed, but permitted to roam about until natural death claims it. Any ox or cow may thus be set apart, and to him who sets it apart, and to those of his family and clan, it is looked upon as a god or as belonging to the spirits. Now, we can already see some parallels here between what historians say about Apis bull and what Brown writes about the Kupe bull of Botswana. Let's look at some cognates from the Middle Egyptian and compare them to the Setswana words. That will lead us to unraveling what this thing is that we talk about as Kupe. We have the Middle Egyptian word right here, Kapi, right? And it means burn, incense, right? And in Setswana, Kupe means hot ashes, okay? And we have also the Middle Egyptian using some of the glyphs, except the first one is different, and the third one, right? Sehap, it means to be hidden, because observe that here the A here used is just for convenience sake, for linguists to be able to read this. It's not that this is what the actual vowel is, right? In Setswana, we say suhupu. A suhupu is a hidden thing or a covered thing, right? Then in the Middle Egyptian, we have another word, hap. The same thing here. The A is just for convenience, and it means to hold secret. In Setswana, lihupu. It means a concealed matter or a concealed thing or covered thing, right? So if you cannot see it, then it is a secret. The next one, Middle Egyptian, hap, same thing, to hold secret. In Setswana, the hupu, same meaning. And then the last one here, hap, because they did not use the that A for convenience. I don't know why these things are done this way. In some instances, they just do not use the vowels. But it's lehupu. It means a bruise, a hump, or a prominence. Okay, as you will see that the way that this is constructed, you have these instruments, engineering instruments, right? That we, made out of wood, and this type of wood, or the wood that is cut in this fashion in Setswana, we call it papi. And then the way that they are arranged is called, we say, hapa, meaning that they are parallel to each other, hapa. So one can readily see how certain sounds were formed, right? Or certain words were actually constructed. Our ancestors actually simply used the names of things that they use daily in order to create words. So you can imagine hapa. From hapa, then you have hupu, which is a bruise, hump, prominence, or hupu in this case, which is concealed matter, and the same here. And then suhupu, the same here, right? And then, of course, differently here, kupe, all right? Okay. Moving on. So according to historians and linguists, the actual name of the Apis bull is Hapi Ankh. The same is translated to mean the living Hapi. Using the law of Botswana regarding the sacred bull, will show that this is speculative rather than actual, but close enough. We've already shown that the transliteration of Hap, to keep secret, is found in Setswana as hupu. Note that the A in Hap is arbitrary, since translators don't know the pronunciation of most words. Interestingly, Hap, which is constructed using the same set of glyphs as Hapu, Apis bull, is transliterated differently. In the Middle Egyptian, you have that. We've already looked at that, Hap, to hold secret. But look at the difference. Okay, we see this one, the tri-squares, I will call, yes, these are the tri-squares, and the Q3 glyph and the Z7 glyph, all right, which is wa, the Z7 glyph, which is like that spiral, gives us the wa sound, okay, or U sound, all right. And you find the same thing here, right? The tri-squares, okay, or the engineering squares, the Q3 glyph, and the Z7 glyph, wa, okay. And of course the determinative itself, the bull itself, so in this case of the Apis bull itself, what they give us is hapu. So now you have the sound itself of the wa, but of course you have it in the English the English translation is Apis bull, or the Greek translation. But in Setswana, this would be luhupu, meaning a humpback, right? This is a bull with a hump, right? Luhupu. So as a supporting fact to show that the bull was called Hapi Ankh, from the papyrus of Hapi Ankh, we find the following statement: Wusur Hap Ankh Ma'akuru, Osar, the living Apis bull, true of voice. So I just use the the way, the popular translation, or how this would be translated. All right. Now, as to why Osar is referred to as the living Apis bull is a question for another time. Okay. and in the future we can simply show that this has to do with anatomy. All right, it has nothing to do with anything else but anatomy, because all of these things are describing things that are in the body. Okay. Now, what does the Apis bull look like? All right. It's very difficult to find the actual pictures because this type of a bull is very rare. That's why it's so sacred. It's very rare that one would find this bull, birthed or found among their own herd of cattle, right? It's been so many decades now since it has last been seen, even amongst our people, right? So it is a known fact that even some kings, they would die without seeing this cow or this ox. All right, but to give you an idea of what it would look like and the things that have been described, the forehead, what it would look like, what they say is a triangle, but really closer to more like a square, right? Or a rhombus. Okay, and sometimes it would have this shape. All right, this is a very important shape. Okay, in a different presentation in the future, we'll go into this shape and what it means, and it's found all over in hieroglyphs, but it's not noticeable because a lot of people, maybe linguists and people who translate, oftentimes they don't know what they're looking at. All right. It's not to say that they're doing a bad job. They don't know. They just don't know. If they don't know, they don't know. Okay, but they've done a great job in giving us the transliteration and the meanings of words and what have you. Even though some of them, is just speculation and they're missing some things. But it's all good because we can work with that. Now, a bull with white on its forehead, back, and tail is called Nkhwe. This is in Setswana, Nkhwe. All right, Nkhwe. And you can already see the, what is this? What I would call the morphology that matches the Ankh. Okay, the morphology that matches the Ankh. So Hapi Ankh is in Setswana Hupu Nkhwe. Right, Nkhwe. We don't say Ankh, we say Nkhwe. Okay, which means the secret of life. Why the secret of life? In another presentation, when I give a presentation on the Ankh itself, all right, what it actually means, what is it? Because it's actually a part of the body, right? It's something that is in the body. Yes, many people have tried. They probably have come close to figuring it out, but thus far nobody has been able to definitively point out to what it is. Because if you can do that, then I say that you will have found Osar himself.
Yeah.
Now, okay, the secret of life, that's another question for a different day to be answered. Um, Now, these are the renditions or the transliterations from Middle Egyptian for Ankh, Nkhwe, with regards to the you know the cow species or small cattle species. This just translate this as Ankh, meaning goat or small cattle. Okay, and then we have this one here. It has the quail chick, which is a wa sound or u sound, and we pronounce it as Nkhwe. Nkhwe, as I've already said, is the color of a sacred bull. Okay, but also that even though they say goat here, for us this is Nku. Nku, meaning sheep. Okay, as you can see, the there's a correlation morphologically between the Middle Egyptian and Setswana. All right. And then I had it close to the end. So let's look at the comparison between the Apis and Kupe bulls, right? The Apis bull was selected after a careful search based upon its appearance. And then we know about Kupe. It is an animal that has been dedicated to divine honors. The lucky animal would live in the lap of luxury until its death, when it would be mummified and buried with full honors. Right? It is on no account to be killed, but permitted to roam about until natural death claims it. Once the bull had been confirmed as the incarnation of a god, it was housed in plush quarters, given only the best food, and provided with a harem of the best cows. Any ox or cow may thus be set apart, and to him who sets it apart and to those of his family and clan, it is looked upon as a god or as belonging to the spirits. Yes. Another white marking on his back in the shape of a hawk's or vulture's wings, a white crescent on its side, a separation of the hairs at the end of its tail. It had to be black with a white triangular marking. Now you'll notice that this color, especially closer to the front, right, is a very deep brown, okay, which we call tokwa. Okay, deep brown is which is closer to black. So this the Kupe bowl would be completely this color all over the body. All right, you wouldn't see lighter shades of brown on it. It will have this color completely over its body. All right, and then these, of course, colors: white on its forehead, white on its back, and and the hump, and then white on its tail. Okay, that we call tokwa. Closer to black, or given that some languages, like European languages, they didn't have some words to explain some things. It's likely that the closest that they could describe the cow or the Apis bull was black. So comparison: it has a color known as Nkhwe, meaning it is white on its back, and of course the forehead and the tail, or a little white about the tail, has a white mark on its forehead. So all of these things, they correspond, showing that the Kupe of Botswana, it is the same as the Apis bull of ancient Egypt. Okay. To conclude, right, it is evident that Apis and Kupe bull of Botswana is the same thing. The name Hapi Ankh, as defined, is congruent to Hupu Nkhwe, aka Kupe, the royal bull of ancient Egypt and Botswana. Nkhwe is the same name of a bull with white on the forehead. Therefore, the royalty of Botswana has an ancestral connection to ancient Egypt and in its culture. This is the first of many steps to unveil the ancient past, referred to as Tala, or in Middle Egyptian Ter, which means time or season. It means the same thing in Setswana. Okay, this Tala of Botswana. And I did present, to wrap it up, in this presentation and speaking of Botswana. And I want people to understand and not, not misconstrue this as tribalism, as some people might want to frame it, because either they are, they don't know, they don't know how to accept this, so they look at it in another way. When I say Botswana or use Botswana in this, most of us in South Africa understand that Botswana actually includes Basotho, because we were at some point in time under the same kings. All right, all of our lineages of kings can be, we can trace our lineages back to one king at some point under which we were all governed. All right. And so when I say Botswana, it includes Basotho as well. It includes not only Basotho in the south, but also Basotho in the north. Those in the north who are called Babedi. All right. And in Basotho in the south, they call every one of us Basotho. When they speak of other Botswana, they call them Basotho. And then when we speak of all of us, when I speak of all of us, I say Botswana, and Basotho is still just as relevant. Okay, it's just that the outside world has compartmentalized our people, and because I guess for political reasons and for anthropological reasons, for them wanting to study and understand us and our languages, they decided to break us apart. But that was never the case before the arrival of Europeans. And with that said, I hope you enjoy this, and I will definitely be speaking to you soon with another presentation. Haebe khotso, funaneng, salan sentle. Peace be with you.